Why a paid-off house is the most dangerous asset you can own. Let me start with a moment that feels like winning the game. You're in your mid-40s. It's a quiet Tuesday night. You're sitting at your kitchen table with a glass of wine and a checkbook. You write one final check, $42,000. It empties your savings. It drains your emergency fund. It even eats a small inheritance you plan to invest someday. But it feels amazing. You mail it to the bank. You own your house free and clear. No mortgage, no debt, no payments. You sleep better that night than you have in years. You believe you've just made the safest, smartest financial decision of your life. Now fast forward 6 months. You lose your job. The economy turns, your industry contracts. Your income drops to zero. You open your bank account, and it's empty. Because all your money is now locked inside your walls. You still need groceries. You still owe property taxes. Your car still needs repairs. You're living inside a house worth $500,000. And you can't afford dinner. That's the liquidity trap. And that's why a paid-off house can quietly become one of the most dangerous assets you own. Welcome to the Financial Sketchpad, where we draw out the hidden math behind everyday money decisions. Today we re-breaking one of the most sacred rules in personal finance and explaining why paying off your mortgage early is often a mathematical mistake, not a virtue. The emotional lie about debt, the obsession with being mortgage-free, isn't driven by math. It's driven by fear. It comes from older generations who lived through double-digit interest rates, inflation spirals, housing instability back then. Paying off debt was survival. But that world doesn't exist anymore. If you have a fixed-rate mortgage at 3 to 5%, aggressively paying it down is equivalent to locking your money into an investment earning 3 to 5% with zero flexibility. Ask yourself this. Would you voluntarily put your money into a savings account earning 3% that you can't touch in an emergency? Of course not, yet that's exactly what extra mortgage payments do. The opportunity cost nitrogen monoxide one runs. Here's the math most people never calculate. Say you have $100,000 in extra cash. Option 1. You pay down a 4% mortgage. You save $4,000 a year in interest. Option 2. You invest it at a conservative 8%. You earn $8,000 a year. That 4% difference compounds forever. Over 30 years, that single decision is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. By paying off the mortgage, you aren't reducing risk. You're eliminating arbitrage. You're firing leverage, one of the most powerful wealth-building tools available. What risk actually is? Most people think risk means having debt. That's backwards. Risk is not having access to cash. When you send extra money to the bank, it disappears. It becomes home equity, and home equity produces no cash flow. You can't spend it. You can't eat it. You can't use it unless a bank agrees. And banks only lend to people who don't need money. Lose your job? Credit tightens? Market downturn? That equity is trapped. Compare that to someone who keeps the mortgage and builds a large investment account. If they lose their job, they can sell investments, pay the mortgage for years, cover emergencies. Who is safer? The person with a paid-off house and no cash, or the person with a mortgage and $500,000 liquid? Liquidity wins. Every time. Inflation is your friend if you let it work. Inflation destroys savers. But it's incredible for borrowers. A fixed-rate mortgage locks in your payment in today's dollars, while inflation slowly erodes the real value of that debt. Your payment stays the same. Your income rises. The loan gets cheaper every year. Paying off the mortgage early destroys this advantage. You're paying the bank back with valuable dollars today, instead of cheaper dollars later. You're helping the bank, not yourself. The million-dollar decision, let's make this painfully clear. Imagine you pay an extra $1,000 a month toward your mortgage to kill it in 15 years. Feels responsible. Now imagine investing that same $1,000 instead. At historical market returns, after 15 years gives about $400,000. After 30 years gives nearly $2 million. The house appreciates either way. The difference in net worth? Over $1 million. That's the price of peace of mind. It's an extremely expensive emotion. The psychology trap. Here's the irony. Most people believe paying off the house unlocks investing. In reality, the opposite happens. Once the mortgage is gone, lifestyle expands. Spending rises. Surplus disappears. Parkinson's law kicks in. Keeping the mortgage often enforces discipline. Investing builds freedom. The asset protection angle. There's another uncomfortable truth. A paid-off house is a visible target. If you're sued and your home is 100% equity, that equity is exposed. If the bank owns most of it, there's very little to take. High debt makes you look poor on paper. Liquidity makes you rich in reality. When paying it off does make sense, let's be fair. Paying off the mortgage early can make sense if your interest rate is well above market returns. You lack discipline and will spend the money otherwise. In those cases, the mortgage acts as forced savings. But for disciplined investors with low-interest loans, mortgage debt is an asset, not a liability. The better strategy here's the alternative. Stop paying extra. Take that extra $200, $500, or $1,000 per month and invest it instead. Put it into a separate account. Call it your freedom fund. In 10 years, you'll have liquidity, you'll have options, you'll sleep better. For the right reasons, a paid-off house is a trophy. A liquid portfolio is an army. I'd rather have the army. Final thought: we've been taught that debt-free equals safety. It doesn't. Liquidity is safety, options are safety, control is safety. Stop optimizing for outdated rules. Optimize for resilience. This is the financial sketchpad. If this made you rethink that extra principal payment, share it with someone who's obsessed with being debt-free. I'll see you in the next one.